Okay, so this is something I keep coming back to, and every time I do, it honestly pisses me off a little bit more. How do we not have a proper live action Dragon Ball Z movie by now? And again, just so nobody derails this immediately, I'm not talking about that movie, you know? That thing, it doesn't count. That was a freaking nightmare. I'm talking about a real attempt, a serious attempt. Big budget, full commitment, no embarrassment. Because when you really think about this, this should have happened years ago. And before someone goes, well, actually, the rights, yeah, no, I didn't do any research. I'm just an idiot rambling. I know that. This is just me wondering how studios, for over a decade now or more, you know, somehow looked at Dragon Ball Z and they gone, nah, let's not do that. Because from where I'm sitting, this is one of the most obvious blockbuster ideas imaginable. Let's start with the most basic thing, the fan base. Dragon Ball Z, it's not a niche. It's not some tiny anime corner in the internet. This thing is massive, globally massive, multiple generations massive. People grew up with it in the 90s, people discovered it later, and people are still watching it now. And the most important part, those kids from the 90s are adults now. They got money, ching ching. Adults who buy tickets, merch, Blu rays, collector's nonsense, all of that. Hollywood lives for that stuff. So the fact that nothing has happened, it's crazy. And even if we look at the structure of this movie or what could possibly be, it's super obvious. Dragon Ball Z is basically pre built for a cinematic universe. You don't need to invent a thing, you don't need to rewrite it, you don't need to modernize it, you just follow it. The Saiyan saga alone is the perfect first movie. You introduce the world, you introduce Goku properly, and then suddenly everything escalates fast. New characters arrive, the power levels jump, all of that, and you immediately understand what is at stake. People die permanently, and this isn't just a light Saturday morning movie, and then you build towards Frieza. That's your big villain, that's your Thanos level threat. That's the moment where everything comes together and the skill goes insane through the roof. You could easily do a trilogy from just that, easily. And if you don't see the comparison here, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, look at Avengers. Marvel spent years slowly building up characters, escalating threats, raising the stakes, and then paid it off with a massive event. Dragon Ball Z already did that decades ago. So why hasn't anyone copied that playbook? It's crazy to me. And every time someone says, yeah, well, Dragon Ball Z, it's too crazy, it's too big, it's too massive, man, I just don't buy it. We are way past that. We live in a world where audiences accept flying gods, talking raccoons, time travel, portals, magic stones, and city level destruction like it's nothing. Energy blasts, flight, planet explosions, that's all normal now. And the technology excuses that. If Marvel can make Doctor Strange work, they can definitely make Kamehamehas work. And that brings me to the real question, what are they scared of, really? Because to me, the fear isn't about visuals or story. I think the fear is more about commitment. Dragon Ball Z does not work if you half ass it. You can't water it down. You can't ground it too much. You know? You don't need to modernize it. And studios have a long history of being, well, I think also embarrassed about anime. They try to fix it, quote unquote fix it. They try to make it more realistic. Well, they should for a live action movie, of course. But they try to explain everything like the audience is stupid. Dragon Ball Z doesn't need explaining. We get it. You train, you fight, you get stronger. Someone shows up stronger than you beat his ass and repeat. Rinse and repeat. That's it. That simplicity is the point of Dragon Ball Z. And here's where I always think of movies like Mortal Kombat and even the newer ones. Are they perfect movies? No. Are they high art? Absolutely not. But they understand something crucial. People are here for the fights, the characters, and vibes, the atmosphere. They keep it simple, they lean into the costumes, they let the characters look like the actual characters, and that's what it is. That's the blueprint. Dragon Ball Z doesn't need to be, elevated. It just needs to be accurate. And this is another thing, and that would be casting. The movie only works if the actors actually look and act like the characters. No ironic casting, no subverted expectations, none of that. We need someone who looks like Goku, moves like Goku, and plays him straight. We need a Vegeta, someone who actually feels like Vegeta, acts like Vegeta, not some toned down Hollywood version of Vegeta, not the modernized version of it. If you get that wrong, the whole thing collapses. I get that. And yes, sure, story matters. Of course it does. But let's not pretend why people fell in love with Dragon Ball Z in the first place. It was the fights. Long, insane, escalating, over the top fights. Training arcs that actually paid off. Rivalries that mattered. People want to see that shit. You don't go to a Dragon Ball Z movie for subtle character drama. You go to watch two people beat the shit out of each other until the planet can't take it anymore and explodes. Man, that's fine with me. I guess that's fine with a lot of people. And what really blows my mind is that studios keep chasing the next Marvel or the next superhero movie, while one of the most Marvel ready properties is just sitting there. Build in saga, build in villains, build in escalation, build in hype moments, build in everything. And instead, we get endless reboots, half baked adaptations, and, kind of versions of things that never fully commit to the property. So, yeah, I keep coming back to this question: why didn't they do it? Do you know? I don't get it. Why didn't they start small, build carefully, and just aim big, like Marvel did? Why didn't they treat this like the cinematic event it could be? Why didn't they just not screw it up in the first place, way, way, way back? Because if Dragon Ball Z ever gets a proper live action treatment, and I mean proper, this wouldn't just be an anime movie, a live adaptation of an anime saga, an anime series. This would be an actual Avengers level event. It really would. An end game event. The kind of movie people line up for. Midnight screenings, all of that. The kind of movie that dominates pop culture for years. And the fact that it still doesn't exist feels like one of the strangest and missed opportunities in modern cinema now, doesn't it? I promise you this, if this ever happens, I'll be there opening night, first night. I'll be there. But until then, I'll just keep sitting here and wondering how Hollywood managed to look at Dragon Ball Z and decide not to print money. But that's just my take, that's just my view, that's just a question that's in my mind. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye bye.